What I wanted to talk about was specific versus general.
The better you feel, be as specific as you can be, because that makes it go fast.
Yeah.
The worse you feel, the more general you want to be.
My specific question has to do with, I always feel like I guess I doubt myself, because I feel like Source has a better vantage point than I do.
That's true. We don't want you to doubt yourself, because it's not a competition, because you can't separate yourself from Source. So if Source has a better vantage point, and it does, then don't you want to co-create with Source? Don't you want Source to think in your mind?
Yes. I sometimes hesitate to make a choice because I don't want to make the wrong one.
Well, then it's too soon anyway. If you have that sort of ambivalence, then hold off. If you're not sure, don't make it. Because alignment brings certainty. Alignment brings certainty and clarity, and you know. When you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you know. And other people might be saying, not a good idea, and you say, yeah, hey, you live your life, I'll live my life. Don't say that to them. But that's what you want to mean. Don't take action until the juices are flowing and you know for sure. That's why we want you to play with this until you get sure.
And sometimes I'm wondering if, like, I just had this meditation on some fun medicine. And it gave me clarity on, is this the level I want to play at? Is this the level I want to create at? So in other words, it's like, it was work-related and family-related to a certain degree, but it was sort of like I saw this vision in my mind of why people, you were talking about this yesterday, with how we fragment from ourselves and from Source. And I had a vision of recognizing that any fragmentation that I'm partaking in, whether it's corporate or familial or whatever, comes from these feelings of separation that we all have. And I could either work at that level with this other person has their fragmentation, and clearly they're showing up in my experience because they're somehow invoking mine, perhaps on some levels. Why not create at a different level? Do I even want to sell this building or be part of this deal, or do I just want to play at a different level?
Here's the thing that we talked about already that we want you to remember. It really applies well here. There is a evaluation as you're sifting through the contrast of the level that they're playing at. And there's also a recognition on your part that there's a part of you that must be vibrating there also too, otherwise you wouldn't be involved with them anyway. So there's a law of attraction thing that you're acknowledging that's going on too.
Absolutely.
However, as you put everyone into those piles, so we are talking about political piles and religious piles and gender piles and financial piles, in other words, all kinds of ways to pigeonhole and catalog situations and people. But now there's the spiritual and not spiritual pile. There's the uplifting and not uplifting pile. These piles are all sort of about a sort of judgment. And in all of that, there's a disconnection. When we want you to mix all the piles up and just say, there's the alignment and the not alignment. It doesn't matter who you're interacting with. We don't want to make law of attraction sound like you need to figure out who you are, identify what kind of metal you are, identify what kind of magnetic attraction that you've got going, and then go out and only attract that. That's not what we're encouraging you to do. What we're encouraging you to do is to mix it up and realize that your intentions are in place and that your inner being is pulsing within you, and that with a little bit of focus you could lighten up considerably, and you could leave aside so much more resistance than you are leaving aside, and then there is so much benefit to be experienced. But really, if you became more consistently one of the most enlightened people on the planet, meaning that you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on all the time, you'd have no expansion if you didn't mess around with people who have resistance. You don't want to go hide yourself in a corner with the two other enlightened people on the planet. You want to mix it up with what's going on, and you want to come to the place where you're loving the parts of them that are the expansion giving part. We don't want to give you the impression that you're wanting to build this law of attraction elitist group where you clarify your vibration and now you're just humming out there at this pure level, because there's such a small crowd on the leading edge. There's no go power in that. The go power is in the contrast that launches the rockets. We just don't want you to hold yourself in resistance to your own rockets that you're launching. That's the whole point of everything that we've ever said to any of you ever. Where you are is a perfect place. It's got to be enough, because it's all there is. It's got to be enough. So just launch the rockets from where you are, but launch these rockets with more awareness about what you're doing next. That's all that we're encouraging you to do. Some of what you're saying complicates and confuses you more than it needs to.
You say that we're not here to necessarily do anything specific. It's not like I need to help something or solve something or whatever.
We don't say that. We say you're not here to fix a world that's broken, because the world isn't broken. We're saying you came with intentions and purpose. You came with things that you want to do. You came as an uplifter. You came because you seek improvement. Motion forward is always about improvement.
And do we create the same goodness or give back the same light and goodness in the world by not participating but just radiating, or does participation increase the effect that you have?
What?
So if we're here to do things, if we're here to have purpose, and we came here with a purpose,
and to discover more,
and if the purpose is just to have ease and love and peace and joy.
The purpose is joy. The awareness is that there will be expansion, and the choice is to have expansion in joy.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
Continue.
Does it have to be so for example, to make it more specific.
Have you listened to anything that we've been saying today? Do you get that you are an extension of source energy? And you get the joy and intentionality with which you came into this physical experience?
Yeah.
And do you understand the purpose of the contrast? Yes. So now make that question fit in there somehow. What are you asking?
Is it okay if what I want to do is just win the lottery and go travel and just have fun? And am I still giving back and mixing it up and living my life with love and joy in a way where there's forward movement? I guess that's what I'm asking.
First, we want to start with is my responsibility to give back?
Yeah, no, it isn't, right?
Well, then your question's invalid.
Right. Right. But we want to. I think we want to, right? That's part of who we are.
You're making a bit of a tangle here that is going to take a minute to work our way out of. So let's just play with this a little bit.
I'm just so happy to be here.
So you didn't come with some responsibility to make the world a better place, because you acknowledged the perfection of this contrasting world. You did come because it is joyful and fun to participate in this world, and because you knew that any participation, whether you're joyful or not, would cause expansion. And so your powerful intention about coming forth was satisfied just by coming forth, because you knew that you couldn't participate in this perfectly set up environment without contributing in all the ways you have intended. So to answer that part of your question, you can't get that part of it wrong. You are a contributor in the way that you intended just by being here and mixing it up, because you can't participate and observe and be part of this without launching continual rockets of desire. So you are building, without even knowing it usually, a vibrational reality which summons source into this time and space, which satisfies all the intentions that you held as you made the decision to come. Did we answer that clearly? So now on the question of, is it all right to have fun? It is not only all right to have fun. Is it all right for that to be my dominant intention? It's not only all right for that to be your dominant intention. Unless feeling good and feeling satisfied is your dominant intention, then even though you are launching desires, and even though you are contributing to the expansion, and even though you are fulfilling your reason for being in all of those ways, you're not enjoying it until you croak. Which brings us to a question buried somewhere in there is it all right for me to experience the exaltation that I'm promised when I reemerge into non-physical? Is it all right for me to experience that now? And our answer to you is, there is only now. The joy that you feel now is what all of those non-physical angels and beings are experiencing as you are opening up and living life in the way that you intended to live it. We know what you're asking. You're asking, if I hang around in negative emotion, am I sort of squandering my reason for being? No, you're still contributing. You say, well, if I discover positive emotion and I'm just happy all the time and I'm selfishly looking for ways to enhance my experience and I'm thriving in terms of relationships and prosperity, and is that all right? Shouldn't I be suffering? In other words, isn't there something else that I should be doing in order to contribute? And we say, you know your greatest contribution when you are feeling your greatest joy. And it is an individual thing. There are not a set of rules that say, do these things. That's what people who turn to religion are wanting. Tell me what to do so that I will receive the greatest blessing once I'm dead. Make the rules for me and I'll do my best to line up with all of those rules. Then when I reemerge into non-physical, to then receive the reward that I've come here to earn. There's nothing about that that is the way that it is. We appreciate your question and we appreciate your willingness to experience the power of our answer. Because this is a big deal. What you honed in on with your powerful and personal and very sincere question is the thing that keeps more people from being joyful in this life experience than all other things put together. There is some belief that to be selfish and reach for joy cannot be right, because I've been told too many things before that make me believe that I'm here to serve others. And you got to ask yourself, if others are telling you those things because they want you to serve them, it's like they say, don't be selfish, but do what I need. Don't serve your selfishness, serve mine. There's something a little out of whack about that, don't you think? Your point of attraction is different now. And the benefit of that will be evident to you as you're moving forward. It is our desire that you pay attention to that, because words don't teach, but life experience really does. So as you notice the difference in the way things unfold, the thing that we really want you to pay close attention to is the thoughts occurring to you that feel fun. Those impulses to stop here or go there or call this one or do this. Those nudges from non-physical in the direction of your path of least resistance. Just be aware of that, because your inner being is offering this to you nonstop, but you're not in the receiving mode nonstop, but you're more likely to be in the receiving mode more of the time. So when you think about it, if your inner being always knows where you are in relationship to where you want to be, and your inner being is always offering those suggestions and impulses in the form of vibration, so that's happening all the time, doesn't it follow that the more often you are joyful, the more often you'll be in the receptive mode of feeling that nudge? And wouldn't it be really, really fun to be coming out of meditation and have an idea pop into your mind that feels exciting and sets you off on the course of a really great day or a really great life? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it also be really fun if you had a stream of those coming all day long? All day long? All day long. Wouldn't that be really, really fun if you just tapped into the clarity and brilliance of who you really are and demonstrated it through the life experience that you are living? That is what we're talking about. That's who you are.